If you're planning on buying any cards from TCG Player, make sure you use our affiliate link right here in the description of our video to help support the channel. It's the best way to do it and it's free. Check out Poton Store. It's a fantastic website with instant email delivery on all the code cards you could possibly want for PTCGO. And if you use Tablemon code when you're checking out, you get 5% off your final purchase. For the European players, Millibots Gaming has everything from collectibles to all the latest cards from the latest sets, Cosmic Eclipse, Hidden Fates, and everything from Sun and Moon. Don't forget to check it out and use Tablemon code when checking out in order to get 5% off your final purchase. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG Worlds 2020. Some of you may recognize this deck. I did feature it a while ago when we had the news of the Japanese tournament that had Sword and Shield and the new set and everything. Dallas is happening as we are talking about this. I'm uploading this on Sunday. This is probably the deck that I ended up choosing for the main event in Dallas. Hopefully I am playing day 2 right about now. That's the plan, right? Working my way towards that top 8. So yeah, TREVNOIR is a deck that I've been really fancying, and I've tried to fix some of the weaknesses that I found with the deck, namely the glaring dark weakness by playing weakness policy to remove that weakness. The inability to target down, oh, that's actually not here yet. So yeah, I'm missing the counter catcher. So the inability to be able to KO something like an Oranguru or an Octillery, whilst at the same time playing N or Ace Trainer. So counter catcher allows you to do that after you blow up the Milotic through Energy Grace. And late game healing. Like most of the time, if your opponent with a 0 card hand is able to have something that can consistently attack you, since your damage output is only 150, if you're able to heal off one turn, that delays their win by a lot. So healing with Malolana seemed pretty important. We also considered a Great Potion and a Pokemon Center Lady as well. All of those were impactful, but Malolana ended up being, like, the discard is never an issue for this deck. You always have leftover cards towards the end of the game, and healing 120 is just unparalleled. And it's an additional switching card in case you're ever stuck in a weird spot where your opponent has only one Pokemon in play and they go Guzma on the Mach without a Flowstone. Then you can go ahead and you can't Guzma, but you can Malolana. So this is kind of like a greedy deck, although you do have 4 Shamans and 1 Dedenne, so draw-wise you actually get going pretty nicely. You have 5 counters, 2 potential turn 1 Silent Labs, and Power Plants, so it's very impactful. A second Field Lore is also debatable. Having the second Field Lore over the counter catcher is something we discussed at length, but not quite. You know, we ended up feeling that the versatility of the counter catcher is just superior, and by having the computer search, you can search directly for those. So technically with the computer search, you have 6 counters to the turn 1 Power Plant or Silent Lab. So the idea behind this deck is to get energy in the discard through Battle Compressor and use Energy Grace to power up your TREVNOIR on turn 2, so that you are able to use Night Watch, stealing 150 and choosing 2 random cards from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals those cards and then they shuffle them into their deck. Tablemon GX is also a really good GX attack to get rid of whatever energies or setup your opponent might have had at any given point and threaten a KO. And you want to use that once you have completely handlocked them, basically. You can't control the top deck, so all of the times you end up losing games to sub 10% chances based off of. Another appealing aspect of this deck is the fact that you can you go by games very, very quickly. Either you win quickly or you lose quickly. There's no real middle ground for that. So that's That's quite important because time is an issue, right? Or time is of the essence, and you don't want to be tying over and over, and therefore reducing your chances of making day 2. Like, you might consider IDing if you have 6 wins in order to guarantee that I make day 2, but if you can win instead of tying, then even better, right? And I feel like this deck's chances of winning are almost always favorable. It does have one auto loss, which is most certainly aggro. There's no way to deal with Vileplume in this deck, especially not under item lock. We do have a stage 1 that can attack, which is Alolan Muck. Power of Alchemy obviously doesn't matter, but Crunch could matter in a weird situation where your opponent powers up the Vileplume and then you flip hands on Crunch and you knock them out that way. But you're also not applying any pressure to their hand if you're using a Alolan Muck. So you can very easily Stevens and power up a Rowlet Executor to KO your Muck. So it's generally it's as bad as an auto loss as it comes. Expanded is such a big format that it's generally impossible to beat everything. Pyro, of course, is also a bad matchup, and anything that ends up starting with a Wolfed can also cause issues for the deck, because Wolfed obviously stops Shaman and Dedenne in their tracks. But for the most part, even Turbo Dark, thanks to weakness policies, it feels pretty good. Or not pretty good, but it's at worst 50-50 from the testing that we did. A lot depends on how turbo they go on that first turn they have. But if they falter at any point, then the hand luck ends up being super punishing. And also, getting our Mimikyu's Horror House GX basically compensates for the fact that you sometimes go second, right? Half the time you go second. So Horror House GX allows you to compensate for that. You only grant them a single turn, which is huge. And they can't do anything other than draw pass for the most part. And that means then you get a turn to blow up the Melodic, attach the energy to a TREVNOIR TCG, and start attacking that way. So I wanted to give an overview of this. I'm uploading this Sunday afternoon, I'm guessing, since this is the past and you guys will be looking at it in the future. Obviously, I didn't want to reveal the exact 60 cards that I was going to play at the event before the event or during the event, in case I play against someone that sees the video, and then having more information gives them more power to play around my camps, counteract whatever I'm doing, etc. So that is kind of impactful. Now, initially I had 4 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, and 2 Pokegum. That has since been changed to 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Pokegum, and a single Nest Ball. The single Nest Ball and the 4 Trainers Mails were cuts in order to fit in the Counter Catch Animal Lana after we maximized consistency. And Pokegum is just overall better because between 4 Pokegum and 4 Ultra Ball, you have 8 cards that can potentially grant you the Dedenne GX or Shaymin EX to keep digging in your deck. Whilst Nest Ball, you can't, right? And the original Japanese list had Quick Ball instead of Nest Ball. So that is fantastic, right? Because then every Quick Ball and every Ultra Ball is a way to find Shaymin or Dedenne. But since Quick Ball is not out yet here for us, and it's not obviously not legal for Dallas, then we had to use the less good yet still effective Pokegum. And Pokegum does have advantages because we also have Professor Sycamore in this, which was not part of the Japanese deck. And the discard can sometimes be harsh, right? You'd rather not discard your 1 of Muck on turn 1. You'd rather not discard any Melodics, because if you discard a Melodic, then you either need to manual power up the second TREVNOIR, or you're just never going to power up anything else. But Pokegum allows you to save that, right? You put the Melodic back into the deck and there it's safe, and then you're free to Sycamore or Data Change. Same for the Muck. And same for like if you have a bunch of like Shaymins packed up in your hand, then that's also impactful. And it also allows you to thin your hand. Like you can Pokegum, put the Pokemon back, and don't find anything, so you're getting rid of 2 cards, and then you get to set up for a few extra cards. So there's a lot of use for Pokegum. It's definitely okay with having 16 Pokemon total in the deck. And the deck does thin quite a lot. Like by the end of turn 2, there are sometimes times where you have like 10 to 12 cards left between the compressors, the drawing, etc. So Pokegums just end up being really great early on and discard fodder later on, so it's not super impactful. And yeah, I mean, the most valuable cards here are definitely the Via Seekers, and because of that, you even wish you could turn the Computer Search into Dowsing Machine. And generally there is an argument to trying it out, but it's a more greedy option. Computer Search gives you consistency at any point in the game, whereas Dowsing Machine is only good later on in the game, right? It can become essentially a 5th Via Seeker, a 2nd Counter Catcher, a 2nd Field Blower, an extra weakness policy, a 5th Sky Field. There's so many uses for Dowsing Machine, but the early game consistency is an important thing. You need to get that turn 1, at least Ditto and FIBA set up, along with the Grimer ideally. So there's so much that you need to do with this deck on turn 1 that you really need the extra consistency with Computer Search. And so hopefully I am playing day 2 as you're watching. That's the plan, right? Hopefully I did well with this deck. We've played with it quite a lot, and there's just so many decks in Expanded. You can't thoroughly test absolutely everything. So this is a deck that it's kind of like an undercover, right, deck, a not very well known deck. I feel like no one ever paid really too much attention to it, and it's generally very powerful. So hopefully me and my friends did well with it, and I guess you'll find out. Yeah, if you follow me on Facebook or Twitter, I'll be posting updates of the weekend and how it's going there. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, really helps out the channel. Appreciate the support, and I will catch everyone in our next video. Bye.